Hey, if you're going through a hard season right now, it might feel like God is not teaching you anything. I felt that way, that you take one step forward and 742 steps backwards, and you really wonder where God is. Is God walking with you? And I want to let you know that, of course, God is walking with you. And I just want to get into some things that hopefully will help you in this hard season that you may be in. And I know if you're in a hard season, a lot of us think, am I doing something wrong? Have I done something to throw God's plan off? Why am I going through this hard season? And I get it. Some of these hard seasons might seem like they last for 4 months while the good times last for 1 week. I mean, no season lasts forever. The good seasons don't, the hard seasons don't. But of course, we remember the pain, we remember the struggle a lot more sometimes than the good seasons. And we just have to remember that God is shaping us and transforming us. And there's a purpose for these difficult seasons that we're in. And I understand it. Online, there's sometimes a lack of authenticity, and it seems like everybody's having their best moments. We already know that, the social media highlight reels. But the reality of it is, even in this AI age, I think everybody is looking for more authentic connections. Nobody in life goes through life without difficult seasons, without problems, setbacks, losses. And the good thing about being a follower of Christ is that when we go through these hard seasons, the world might look at us and see, and we're not supposed to fake it. We're not going to fake it and say, hey, everything's great when it's not. You know, Jesus didn't fake it. He was going to the cross, and he didn't just sit there and say, hey, everything's all right. You know, we'll probably have a really great breakfast or brunch in the morning. You know, he went there and he died on the cross, and it was a very traumatic event for everybody. And they tried to pray beforehand, and, you know, his friends were falling asleep, and Jesus must have just thought, wow, this is a hard season. I'm praying before, you know, I know what's coming. My friends are falling asleep. Judas is going to betray me, and I'm going to go to the cross. And that's a really hard season. And of course, not only a hard season, but Jesus lived the most difficult season that anybody could. I mean, you live a perfect life and you're without sin, and yet you pay the ultimate price. You have to go through all that pain and suffering. And Jesus understands, and my point to this is Jesus understands all of what we're going through, the hard seasons, the hard times, the difficulties that we're facing. And hey, I mean, maybe it's not the most traumatic season, but it's still a hard season. Maybe you're just going through, you don't even know why, but you're just going through stress. Maybe the stress and anxiety is subconsciously creeping up with bills or friends or connections or isolation, anything. It could be anything, but it's just creeping up and it's really starting to get at you. And something that I heard what was interesting is that a lot of us don't necessarily know how to profit from our pain or harvest our hurt or learn from the losses that we go through in life. And I thought that was really well said because a lot of us, you know, haven't really developed the coping mechanisms to deal with these things. You know, society tells us, hey, you know, deal with the problems, the hurt, you know, cope with these issues with, you know, drugs, alcohol, TV shows, all of these things, when it's like we don't run to Jesus first. We don't exercise, we don't eat healthy, we don't meditate on the word of God. And, you know, that's our responsibility. We do have a responsibility to go ahead and try to, you know, learn in these hard seasons. And here's the thing, God doesn't measure progress the way we do. And that doesn't mean that you have to like it, you have to enjoy it, you have to just say, hey, I'm great and I'm fine in this hard season. But know that God's working behind the scenes and we have no idea what's going to be on the other side. It's going to be greater, of course, than any of us could ever imagine because we always know that God's plans are huge. And obviously, if we could see what God was planning, then we wouldn't really be as worried. But God always has a great plan that's going to ultimately be for his glory. And I just want to look at a quick verse, which is Isaiah 43:2. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. So God is working with us. He's not going to abandon us. He's going to walk through the fire. He's going to walk through the storm. He's going to walk through the hardship next to us and with us. He's not going to abandon us. So, you know, that's a beautiful verse. And we just have to know God is always going to be there for us. And we're all called to live righteous lives. But there's one more thing I want to share with you, and that's Psalm 34:19. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of all of them. And yeah, being faithful doesn't exempt you from pain, but just looking at this psalm, it validates the suffering. And anchors the fact that we are delivered and we are promised deliverance, and the affliction's real, but of course, like I just said, we're promised deliverance. So know that, again, in these hard seasons, God's with us. Try not to get wrapped up in social media and the highlight reel. Know that everybody goes through hard seasons, but the difference between the world and us is that we know that God is working for a purpose. When we're walking with God, we know that our hard seasons, because for example, it's difficult to not be connected with God, to just be going about your day to day and not know, hey, what are the plans for me? What's the purpose of this world? I'm just here and dead tomorrow, and there is no God. There's no reason for any of this. But when we know that there's a God, we know there's a God that loves us and supports us, and we're going through these hard seasons, that the hard season is for a purpose, and huge transformations, huge blessings, huge revelations are coming just in our lives to know that we're on the right path, and God is there with us. Because even though we don't want to admit it, we know that growth comes from suffering. If you give some kid or you give some person everything that they want, they become spoiled, they become entitled, they don't really know what it's like to grow, to deal with issues, they don't become mature, and we already know that through hard times we grow as people. So we know that God is doing this all for a purpose, of course. So again, you don't need to rush your way out of this. You don't need to pretend that the hard season doesn't exist. Go ahead and share it with people. Know that there are issues in your life. Have that community. But if you don't have a community, always go to God. Stay open, stay connected to Him, and know that He's there for you. God has a long history of doing His best work in unseen stories. So if this season feels hard, painful, heavy, know it's not wasted. That's all I have for you. If you want to check out some of my other videos and it resonates with you, go ahead. If you could leave a like, that would be great. Subscribe if you want to join for the journey. But thank you so much for staying here and spending time with me today. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.